All right, baby. DraftKings Sportsbook officially live in our home state of Massachusetts.
We can't believe it.
To our New England neighbors, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Quack Attack is back, Jack.
Yeah, we had a decked out duck boat outside our office as we launched an hour ago, and we could not be more excited for this show. We're going to bring you the sweat today. Jared Carabas was there. He's going to be here with us in studio. Plus, we're breaking down XFL odds, NASCAR, college basketball, and NHL.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to get this party started, though, with Brian Scalabrine. Let's go. Come on, open it up. Open it up,
Here with
Howard.
us
Bring him
studio.
in.
Yes, pleasure to have you here.
What's going on, dude?
I'm enjoying the whole tour. DraftKings going live.
Yeah.
It's been quite an event.
You look warm in
Yeah,
this thing.
I love
Well,
that.
I was outside.
Exactly. So you were down there
Yeah.
for the big event we had.
Yep.
How was it? What was the vibe like?
Now, let me tell you what happened. So, can we show that duck boat? There was a little parking spot in the back, and they gave me a parking spot in a garage, and it was 6'4". I got a truck. It ain't gonna work. So now you got 1,000 people out there, and I got this small spot I got to squeeze the truck into. So I got a parallel park in front of 1,000 people. I did it and nailed it, and more people have come up to me and said, "Man, that parallel park job is amazing."
Yeah.
Then they have talked about, like me being an analyst for the Celtics or winning a championship or carrying that team and winning Finals MVP. They're about the parking spot.
Parallel parking in Boston is like an Olympic sport.
It kinda is.
It's very difficult. It's also fantastic that people watch people trying to parallel park on like Newbury Street. Right now, what would your Celtics bet be right now? Now that mobile sports betting is live here in Massachusetts.
If I were to do that, which
Yeah,
I
if
won't,
you
but
were
if I
about-
were,
Right. Just,
Like
think-
what-
Yeah, metaphorically speaking.
yeah. So, and I'm going to do it from a gambling standpoint.
Okay.
You have to love the Celtics to go to the NBA Finals,
Okay.
winning the Eastern Conference, right?
All right.
Because you're going to get a certain amount of odds, but when they're in the Eastern Conference Finals, the odds will probably be a little bit different, right? Maybe a little less. Right now, there's a lot of
Yeah.
teams that can win.
So they're plus 130 to win the East right now, and then the Bucks are right behind them at plus 190.
Yeah, so I think that would be a nice bet that you can hedge and play around with if you don't like how it looks when they finally do play the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, so they snapped their 3-game skid the other night. What's your biggest concern with this team right now?
Yeah, playing slow. I like them when they have talent, so I like them when they play fast. I think controlled chaos is probably the best way to describe it.
Okay.
And every time, people are always on blowing the 28-point lead, blowing the 15-point lead, blowing the 14. Yeah, there's no doubt that should be a concern, but you got to build one of those things before you blow it, know. And I think they have the recipe for success. It is you play fast, you play out of control a little bit with an emphasis to make sure Tatum and Brown get the ball as many times as possible. If I'm standing there with an above the break 3 and Tatum's in the corner, I better one-touch that thing to him, right? It's not totally out of control. You play kind of random, you play kind of wild with an emphasis of getting the ball to your two best players.
Have you ever been at the free throw line with the game on the line and have called your shot and said, I'm going to make both free throws, and then end up missing both free throws? Has that ever happened?
I would think 1,000% I'm going to make those free throws,
We're obviously referencing what went down with Grant Williams and the failure of trash talking.
So I think, to be honest with you, I think his mistake, if you watch the chaos that happened before, this guy subbed in, that guy subbed in, this guy was here, this guy was there, and Grant's just standing there on the free throw line, dude, you got to step off the line.
Yeah.
You got to regather. Treat it, it's not 2 free throws, you got 1 free throw. You make your first or whatever you need to do, you miss it, okay, reset, walk off the line, let all the madness happen. They're all waiting on you. But, the thing about the NBA is you go back and play the next night, or you get back in the gym and you work the next day. We all have short-term memory. It's not like when Grant Williams woke up, he's like, man, I can't believe I blew that. But you have a chance to redeem yourself. That's just the way. You guys remember when Jaylen Brown missed the free throws and we lost the game, and then the next night he was in the exact same position. He got fouled on an N1 and he made it to send it to overtime. So that's the NBA for you. Things don't linger.
But how do people get? Yeah, people do get in their heads. His minutes have been slipping a little bit here. I mean, how do you, as a former player, how do you break yourself out of that rut? Because it can be very mental.
You start at the top. Coach Mazzulla, we need to talk, right? What do I need to do to play? You got to humble yourself, right? You don't say, they should be playing me. Of course you think that, but let's go to the top. Why aren't you playing me? Or you know what? It could be 3 things with him. It could be, right now we're healthy, we're looking at our rotation, right? It could be 2, Grant, you complain a lot, and we're tired
Yeah.
of that. Like, as a group, there was a play the other day that Joe Mazzulla was trying to flag down Grant. He was like, Grant, standing. I'm right there. I'm watching this. He said it for about 5 seconds. Grant was talking to the official. The play happened. So he never got a chance to listen to his coach during that time. So when you're Jason Tatum, your playing time is not going to be affected. When you're Grant Williams, I think your playing time could be affected. So, but I wouldn't be guessing that. I would go to Joe Mazzulla. What do I need to do to play? What do you want to see from me? I want to see you defend at a high level. You got to rebound at a high level, and you have to make shots. Okay, I'm going to focus in on those 3 things.
Scal, before I ask you about the Western Conference here, what similarities do you see between that title team you were on 2008 to this team this year? Any similarities at all?
Well, I mean, the similarities is we were both good, but
Yeah.
we were completely different. We were good defensively. Like, a lot of times we remember players offensively. Man, look how Ray Allen shot the ball or whatever. That team was one of the greatest defensive teams that has ever played, right? So we hung our hat defensively. We would go stretches 8 minutes, and we would have a run 10-2 in 8 minutes. Like, we would hold teams to that type of stuff. This team is the opposite. This team's greatness is on the offensive end, and that's kind of where they hold their identity. And if they embrace that, you still have to be good defensively. Just like we couldn't suck offensively either, right? You have to have some semblance of a top 10 offense or a top 10 defense.
Score more points than the other
But
team.
we were just like, we were just more gritty, grimy, and that they're much more talented and skilled than we ever were. Like, you can't compare the two. But we were much more locked in defensively to what we want to do. Like, defense, if you made a mistake defensively, you would hear about it. It's just a very different era. So if you want to go to the next level of who would win, it is really hard when Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen are playing like that. Hard to beat those guys, right?
For sure.
That's for sure.
Well,
All right, yeah, what about out west? So, like,
Are you guys,
Suns with-
so let me ask you.
Yeah.
So I flipped out when Kevin Durant sprained an ankle in warmups.
Yes.
Like, flipped out.
I'm glad you're
Like,
bringing this up.
Dude, when I go play, when I haven't played in like 2 months and I'm tired, I do. Can we cuss? No.
No, I mean, well,
I mean-
I do stuff like that. I do stuff like that when I'm like, dude, all right, you know what? This is my last game. Yo, you got to come get me.
Yeah.
Not when I'm Kevin Durant. I couldn't believe it.
Dude.
And I'm surprised it kind of is floating under the radar. That is. And I hope he does well. Like, I love Kevin Durant.
Of course.
I love him. I don't care about him moving teams, and I think he's amazing to watch. But I am concerned about Kevin Durant and the Suns if he's spraining an ankle in warmups.
Yeah, after 3 games. You know, it's
like,
like, we're just getting started here, man.
It was
Come
pregame
on.
warm-ups of what was going to be his first home game with the Suns, too.
Yeah.
Like, that arena was going to be packed. Like, fans are like, what the hell are you doing, dude?
And he's out. And he's out 3 weeks.
Yeah, like 2-3
Reevaluated.
weeks.
Yeah, it's crazy. So
like, how does that impact, like, who
Big
you
time.
like in the West, like, right now?
so I watched them play against Dallas. I'm like, dude, this team's gonna be tough to beat. But I'm back on Denver now. I'm like,
Yeah.
That's concerning to me. And concerning in the sense, like, you just gotta. I'm not just gonna sit here and say, hey, everything's all right. I don't think that anymore. Like, if Kevin Durant is spraining his ankle in warmups, there's something going on there. There's a problem. Just like I thought when he ran back on defense and grabbed his calf.
Yeah.
I said, like, this is a bigger problem. And then he ended up popping his Achilles. So I'm concerned. I don't want him to get hurt. I hope the Suns have, like, I want everyone to be healthy during the playoffs. But
When he's healthy, like, it's good for the entire league.
the game.
no question.
Yeah,
no
people
question.
love that.
So now I'm back on Denver. I think Denver's good. I don't
Yeah.
trust Michael Porter Jr., but I think Nikola Jokic is amazing.
It's 3P coming here for the MVP, or what about Tatum's odds, plus
Seems-
3,000?
Seems like there's a tidal wave
Yeah.
of guys trying to dismiss what Nikola Jokic does
Right.
on a day in and day out. He's having one of the most historic seasons we have ever seen. He's leading the NBA history in shooting percentage. Like, every player to ever play. That includes Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah.
He leads the NBA in defensive rebound percentage. One of the, like, to me, I always label the best defensive rebounder. Like, the best rebounder is the guy who leads the league in defensive rebound percentage. Offensive rebound could be a little bit overrated. And then the last one, he's leading the NBA in assist percentage. Like, this guy's having such a historic season, but opinions, you know, like, it's funny how those narratives and, you know, Kendrick Perkins said the other day, like, that kind of stuff sometimes plays itself through. And it's going to be a close race regardless. That might be enough to tip the scales. But if I had a vote, I'd give it to Nikola Jokic because the guy's nasty. I mean, what do you want to say?
Like people are looking for reasons to not vote for him.
It's
And I said,
crazy.
dude.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that.
No.
Like,
Because
just
he's
vote
the
for
obvious
him.
choice for a reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
No question.
All right, thank you so much for being
Yeah,
here
it was
today.
great having you, Scout.
Thank you for
Appreciate it,
being
man.
part of the crazy event that we did here at DraftKings, which, by the way,
Look at this first bet.
the first bet that happened, it was downstairs, double duck boats parlay, Celtics to win the NBA championship, Bruins to win the Stanley Cup. It was a $25 free bet parlay plus 1,900 odds to pay out $475. So Celtics plus 300,
Yeah.
Bruins plus 400.
Can I just ask one quick question? Do
Yeah.
you think that mobile, being able to do it will change the odds faster? Would the odds be jumping around the
I
board
mean,
a
yeah.
lot
I
more?
mean, it depends on like where a lot of the money's going. Yeah, the books are going to adjust for sure. But I
Gotcha.
mean, the one thing is clear cut here. Like Celtics and Bruins are not losing a lot of basketball or hockey games right now.
Yeah.
Like this city just has it.
Yeah.
Like it's the city of champions for a reason.
Odds and lines are always subject to change, but yeah,
Thanks, Mom.
it could happen faster, that's for sure. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yep.
All right, Scout.
All right, see ya.
Appreciate you.
All
dude.
right, yeah,
yeah,
thanks for being here.
he's just out of
He's
here.
out. He's out.
It's the walk off. We have the takeoff coming up with Jared Carrabis. He's going to join us here in studio. But as we mentioned, it's a huge day for us here in Massachusetts.
Yeah, and Steve and Julian sat down with DraftKings co-founder Matt Kalish and local bettor and radio host Joe Murray ahead of today's launch to talk everything. Check it out.
I got one question for Matt though. So you're at the Celtics game, right? All right, it's Game 7. All the money's on the line. All of Boston has taken the Celtics, and you know that if they win, you guys are gonna have to pay that money out to all those fans. Is that gonna be a tough one for you? Is this paying out all that, or if the Celtics win, is that gonna hurt you in the long run when you're sitting at center court, knowing that you're gonna have to pay out all those Celtics winners if they win the championship this year?
No, I like that part. That's the best part. 'Cause there's definitely some like markets that are very expensive. Like you'll find these games, like certain outcomes that if they come in, it would be like a big kind of like cash out. But DraftKings is public. We have a very, very, very strong
You guys can
company.
handle it, right?
Trust me, we'll be just fine.
You'll be looking for the after party, right?
Yeah, if you ever catch somebody complaining about like running a sports book or casino not winning enough, you should run far away because
Yeah.
that's just like such a lousy mentality to have as an operator. Like people, basically what you're doing is you're risking something for a chance to win more.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of knows that there's some small amount of like advantage if it's a casino, sports book, the VIG or whatever you want to call it. And so yeah, over time you would expect that the casinos or the sports books tend to win, and
Yeah.
it's really though like kind of a lousy mentality. I think if an operator is too much like sweating,
Yeah.
oh no, this minus whatever $20 million on Super Bowl or something, it's like you'll be just fine. Just take it easy.
No,
And so that's
I'll
how I
say-
feel about it. Yeah.
I'll say this on it, and again, maybe I'm not one of the founders of DraftKings, but I think it would be great for DraftKings for the Celtics and or Bruins to wind up winning it.
Yeah.
Pay out our hometown fans, like get them involved, give them a bankroll to
And
get
he's happy
invested
to do
in
it,
this.
so.
Yeah, you could pay. Yeah, I'm telling Matt, just pay him out anyway.
Don't worry about it.
No, it would be great if one of those teams won it all, and get that would be a great start to legalized sports betting in Massachusetts to give people that excitement and pay those tickets out and get them going.
All right, welcome back
Yeah.
to the Sweat. DraftKings podcast host, Red Sox mascot, according to the Boston Globe. Jared Carrabis is here for the takeoff.
Tuesday
in studio.
tradition, unlike any other.
Yeah, obviously it's a huge day here at DraftKings. DraftKings Sportsbook went live in Massachusetts at 10 a.m. Obviously not your first duck boat experience.
No, it
out
wasn't.
there. No, it
No.
wasn't. How was the experience this time?
It was exciting. So I remember this one. I don't have a ton of memories from the other time.
Why?
Well, because it was a while ago.
Yeah.
It was just
sure.
a, it was just a time.
Yeah. So I remember this one. It
Nice.
was a good time. Went on there. We shot a little video. made some picks.
Yep.
Yeah, we're gonna take that straight to the bank. It's,
Okay.
I'm excited. It's a big
We
day.
love that. We love
Yeah.
that.
It's a little cold, but
yeah.
Did you get on the duck boat? Were people on the duck boat?
yeah,
Okay.
So you were on the duck boat.
I was on it.
Of
All
course
right.
you were.
Yeah,
You love that.
Yeah, after everyone left though, I didn't want
You didn't want everyone to be looking at you.
No, I don't like that.
watching.
I don't like that.
I don't like
no, I like
attention.
that. Yeah, I kind of just I waited for everyone to clear out, and then I was like, oh, I'm gonna go
Sure,
on the
get
duck
some
boat.
picks.
When's the next time you're going to be on a duck boat? Do you,
First week in November, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you? Do you know when I'll be on there?
All right.
Is your
first
first
week in
bet
November.
going to be Sox to win it all? What is it?
so-
Plus 6,000?
Plus 6,000 ish.
You
I don't
took the
know.
Blue
I feel like
Jays the other day to
that
win the
line's gonna
division.
move though. Actually, I went Vladdy Jr. to lead the majors in home runs at plus 1,200.
Okay.
Tristan
That's-
Casas, rookie of the year at plus 900.
Yeah.
Not even the favorite on his own team. Yoshida is the favorite on the Red Sox. I think he's plus 350.
Yeah.
I went Casas plus 900.
Okay.
And then you can pick a range of wins instead of just going over under. So I think it was plus 295 to get the
Okay.
Red Sox between 82 and 87 wins.
See, I saw your tweet about Yoshida and his friendship there with Shohei,
Best
and
friend.
obviously recruiting him right now. Got to be pretty excited about Shohei being a future Red Sox.
I think he's he signed a deal with New Balance, which just like DraftKings,
Is based.
headquartered
Ooh.
in Boston, Massachusetts.
Interesting.
Also, the Boston Globe is headquartered
In Boston.
Yeah,
And
it
dude,
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's
this
going
beef?
on here? So
Yes.
we saw this. They called you a Red Sox mascot.
Mascot.
Specifically, Mr. Dan
Yeah, Mr. Dan Shaughnessy.
Shaughnessy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's fine. I mean, like, so this was a big win for me. And I know a lot of people were reading Dan's comments and they were like, oh my God, like, we hate Dan. I feel like that's like the cheapest pop that you can do in the Boston
Yeah.
sports space is say, I hate Dan Shaughnessy. And everyone's going to be like, yeah, because he's the bad guy. He's the
Yeah.
villain. But I'm a wrestling fan, so I can appreciate his heel move
Yes.
here. You're writing, but in the process of writing the column, he called me likable.
That's
He
correct.
said I was running a business empire.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
said I had
yeah.
1 billion Twitter followers. My mom was like, you have 1 billion Twitter? I was like, no.
I love your
I
mom.
read it in the paper, though. Must be true.
Yep.
It's not. It's not. So, yeah, no, I can appreciate that he wrote this column. But I think the funniest part was my friends from home because I was quoted as saying, man, I'm Dan Shaughnessy. I hate the Red Sox. And that's how I make fun of all my friends from home still to this day.
So they were like, this is a true quote.
This is the measurement of someone's true mental capacity. Can you handle being made fun of like a third grader? If you can't,
So this isn't
Can't
going to
do
be
it.
like next time you're at Fenway for a game or down at spring training or something like. This isn't going to be like you're going to confront him.
no,
you
we've
know?
already talked. I texted him. Like when he texted me, he's like, "I'm glad you enjoyed the column," and I said, "I'd love to get you on the podcast."
That's what he said?
Yeah, I said, "I'd love to get you on the podcast, Dan." Is that something where you have to ask for permission, or has your 80 years of service given you enough clout to be able to do this on your own discretion? And he said the latter. So I'm going to get him on the podcast. That
There
old
we
dinosaur
go.
clown-looking idiot.
All right.
Yeah.
Kill him with kindness.
Yeah, we
Kill
love
with
Dan.
kindness.
We
Yeah.
love Dan.
Huge.
We love Dan. We
Huge
don't love
Dan guy.
We don't love all Boston Globe Red Sox writers, but we do like Dan.
All right, Dan the man. All right, Jared. Chris Sale took the mound this week. We talked a little bit about like how we have high hopes for him. Hopefully
Love
he
him
stays.
smiling again.
Smiling.
Like he looked sharp. Obviously, the concern is just the injury stuff. So, what are your expectations for him this season? Obviously, hoping he stays healthy.
So I love the fact that he was smiling coming off the mound. First strikeout, he was popping 96. Second strikeout was with the wipeout slider.
Love that
The
thing.
difference maker is going to be the changeup because you can't be a two-pitch pitcher and be a starting pitcher in the American League East. It just doesn't work that way. You need the fastball. He's a power pitcher. Love the fact that he was throwing 96 in his first spring training outing. You need to be able to throw that changeup. If you can't throw the changeup, then your only fastball slider, you're going to run into problems like he ran into problems at the end of 2021. So I want like 130, 140 innings. I don't expect him to make every start. I don't
Yep.
think that anybody does.
Nope.
But I don't think that you need him to necessarily. Like I don't want to call the Red Sox deep at the rotation because it's not like they're just like, oh, we have so many studs in the rotation. It's not that. But they do run past 5 capable starters. Like, you've got the veteran guys. If we were in 2017 and you told me that the Red Sox have Chris Sale, Corey Kluber, James Paxton, like that's their top 3 in the rotation, you would be talking not one, but how many World Series titles. These guys are in the latter stages of their career. They do have some injury histories, all 3 of them combined. So Alex Cora is going to have to mix and match here. We're going to have to like give a guy a breather here. And then when you bring in the Cutter Crawfords of the world, then you at least have guys that you can patch those holes with.
Your boy Aaron Judge.
Best friend.
Yes, best friend.
Yep.
So the report is Padres offered him a deal around 12 years, $415 million. So Yankees deal gives him a little more money per season, $40 million here compared to 34 and a half, whatever. It's a boatload of money either way you look at it. What do you think what was the difference for him taking the Yankees offer over what the Padres offered?
Because it's $55 million less guaranteed, like the Yankees deal. So.
Well, he called me and I was like, Judgy, I'm gonna shoot you straight here. If you're in San Diego, we're not gonna get to hang out as much. And he was like, bro, that's the last thing that I want. He was like, you changed my swing, you changed my life, just my mental approach, like all these things. He's like, I can't lose that. He's like, I just hit 63 home runs, and most of it was thanks to you. Like, I still had to go out there and connect with these fastballs and whatever else, but in terms of the preparation and what we had to do to get to that point, I couldn't have done that without you, so the last thing I want to do is switch coasts and not have you at my disposal. And I was like, I get it, dude. So
That makes perfect sense.
All right, so we got to wrap the segment real quick. But those Red Sox still have yet to lose a spring training game.
Correct.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
Wow.
this is unbelievable. They may never lose another game ever again.
11-0-3.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I
Yeah.
like ties. I don't know why they just should
baseball?
have more ties in baseball.
I disagree, but
Well, that's fine.
That's
because
fine.
That's your opinion.
that's
my
fine.
opinion.
Yeah. You can have
Just
that
save
opinion.
it for the Twitter
Yeah,
streets.
that's fine.
We got to
That's
wrap. Thank you, Jared.
Thanks,
Thank you
man.
for being here.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, dude.
Thank you
Love
for helping us launch mobile sports betting. You're the man.
Let's
All right,
go.
conference tournaments are coming down to it, as is our Sweat Fantasy Bracket Sweet 16 matchup. That is coming up, but who's going to win it all in men's basketball? That is the question on our minds. Jeff Goodman on Unreasonable Odds likes a mid-major to run the table.
Probably going to pick Houston and win the whole damn thing, no matter what the bracket looks like.
All right, well, we can talk about this then. With Houston, and I agree, they should win this tournament. Their toughest test of the year, and they did lose in conference, but their toughest test was going to be the road game at Memphis. They get it at the buzzer and survive. They should be okay here on a neutral floor, I would think. But I don't even see Memphis as all that good. So they passed
They're
the test
not.
they needed
No.
to test.
Listen, it's a mid-major league. I get it.
Yep.
I get it. And it's the same concern, right, we always have for Gonzaga, right? Step it up.
Yes.
I totally understand it.
So, but Houston was good in the tournament last year. Like, they had some really impressive games. I backed them against Villanova in the game that they ultimately were eliminated. They're a really good team. They have good guard play, and they play tough defense, and that's what works in this tournament. I just don't know if when they get to, like, if they're in Purdue's bracket or something as the 2 seed, I'm going to take them to go to the Final Four, and then you're at home, essentially, in the Final Four.
Right.
But if they wind up playing like one of these Big 12 teams, like a Baylor in an Elite 8 game, or like, I'm just throwing names out there, I don't know. Like, teams like that have been so tested on a nightly basis, twice a week, and Houston hasn't done it in a long time. You're just sticking to that guard play in the defense, and it's going to get them there.
Coaching, Kelvin Sampson.
Coaching. I got to
Multiple-
give him coaching, yes.
Multiple guards who can make plays off the bounce and for themselves. Jamal Shed, without Sasser and Tremont Mark last year, they were both hurt. He helped lead them to the Elite 8, right? I mean, they were terrific last year when nobody thought they would do it after losing arguably their 2 best offensive players. You add a freshman in Jarris Walker, who could be a lottery pick, skilled four-man. So you've got a kid named Terrence Arsenault coming off the bench who's could be an NBA player, a wing who doesn't even play much.
All right, upset season because it's March and there's madness that comes along with it. And in the second round of our Sweat Bracket Madness bracket, LaDainian Tomlinson is upset by Pele.
Woo!
Shaq takes out Serena,
Yep.
Kobe moves on against Marshall Faulk. The Sweet 16 is set. Yes, guys, and I have confirmed it's pronounced Pele.
Okay.
Pierce Dietrich and Jeff Ulrich.
Who are here with us to weigh in on the next round. Some good matchups in the Sweet 16, but who gets your vote in this one, okay? 2 seed Oscar Robertson, 3 seed Connor McDavid. Jeff, you're obviously going with the hockey player.
Jeff, he didn't even score a point last night. He's pathetic.
Oh, well, he didn't need to. I mean, his team is so good. I mean, the Bruins are so bad, right? No. Look, yes, Jesse, you know me too well. I mean, let's give some love to Oscar Robertson right off the top before I tell him that he's going to go home in this bracket. But, I mean, the guy almost averaged a career triple-double. It's pretty crazy when you look at his production, the assists. I mean, he averaged double-digit assists in 4 seasons. He had a triple-double in 1 season. Like, it's mind-blowing how good a player he was. Oscar Robertson, if you ever want to go back and watch some highlights, crazy player to deal with. But look, Connor McDavid is doing something that definitely is noteworthy, and he deserves to win this, quite frankly. He is going to break the single-season point record for the salary cap era, and that's significant because hockey has changed so much over the last 20 years. What Connor McDavid is doing, he's almost producing on the level of Lemieux and Gretzky in a completely different era, and I think that he just doesn't get enough credit throughout the sporting world. We talk about Mahomes a lot. We talk about stars in the NBA. Connor McDavid may be the most dominant athlete in any professional sport right now. He absolutely deserves to move on here. Like I said, he's probably going to win the Rocket Richard Trophy. He's already at like 54 goals. He may exceed 160 points and maybe even have the most points since Gretzky or Lemieux, back in the 2000s. So yes, Connor McDavid gets my vote. Big shout out to Oscar Robertson. Anyone else here, I probably would have been siding with him, but Connor is absolutely on another level right now.
Pierce, you're not Canadian, but are you going to go with the hockey player as well?
I'll go with the Ohio guy, Big O from UC.
Hell yeah.
Cincinnati Royals, averaging a triple-double basically in a completely different era, in a slower game and a more defensive game. I hate to imagine what his stats would look like playing in the up-tempo game today. I mean, he might become the greatest of all time. So give me Big O. And then one small request. Can we not do the Pele segment next week? Give that to somebody else, please.
Okay,
No.
we'll give it to you guys
I
for
demand
sure.
the Pele segment.
Yeah.
I love the way you guys have finally learned to pronounce his name.
Okay.
Ben DiNucci, some say, is the Connor McDavid of the XFL. So right now, I need to know best DFS play of the weekend. Jeff Ulrich, who's it going to be, and why is it Ben DiNucci?
Ben DiNucci is not the Connor McDavid of the NFL because Kyle Slaughterhouse-5 is back starting for Arlington. And yes, they're taking on a Battlehawks team who allowed 34 points last week, 2 passing touchdowns to rushing quarterbacks. Slaughter's in a good spot, and I really do like stacking the Arlington QB here with potentially one of his targets. Tyler Vaughns is only 4,600. It's a very cheap stack you can get here. Vaughns is a pretty legitimate prospect. He got dinged down a little bit during his draft day because he ran a slow 40, but he's big. He's probably faster than that 40 indicates, and certainly he's still young enough that he can dominate against competition like this. Had 5 targets with Slaughter and a touchdown. I think these two continue, and I like them for DFS. I think a lot of people are going to be looking to go to DiNucci and that offense, which is fine. You can pay a lot less for Slaughter, who's a legitimate quarterback.
All right, Pierce, what direction you want to go in here for your top DFS XFL play this weekend?
DiNucci and his receivers are great, but I'm going to go a little bit off the board and go to Brian Hill. Last week, played 52 of the 68 snaps, caught 4 passes for 48 yards and a touchdown, ran 70% of the routes, even lined up wide 7 times. Former college star with the Wyoming Cowboys with Josh Allen, 4,200 yards rushing in just 3 seasons, almost 2,000 yards in his last season, 5 NFL seasons. But here's the kicker. 2017, his rookie year, he was a backup in Cincinnati. You know who else was a backup in Cincinnati and took a lot of snaps with him? A.J. McCarron. They are reunited. They are together in St. Louis. I think Hill's going to start to have some breakout games.
All right, Pierce, let's talk best bet for the weekend. Where are you going with this one?
Stay with that same team, St. Louis Battlehawks. They didn't cover. They didn't win last week for the first time, but this is going to be their first home game. I didn't really think home field advantage was going to be a thing, but if you watch St. Louis go to D.C. last week, D.C. packed that stadium, and there definitely was an advantage. This is going to be the first home game for St. Louis in the Dome, and they've nearly sold the thing out for an XFL game. There have been demands that they open up the 400 level. So I think St. Louis, they were already trending in the right direction. They're going to have a huge home field advantage. Lay the points, take the Battlehawks.
All right, Jeff, best bet for the weekend in the XFL.
Wow. Nothing excites me more than when Pierce and I are on the exact opposite ends of a game. Arlington Renegades +4. You're not going to take the points, pal? Yes. Kyle Sloter did not turn the ball over. He's very efficient. The Battlehawks allowed 4 sacks last week. A.J. McCarron turned the ball over twice. You got a big coaching advantage with Bob Stoops versus Anthony Beck. I like this one a lot. I mean, I'm surprised that Arlington is getting 2 points. The Battlehawks have squeaked out their 2 wins. One was just like in legitimate. I mean, it wouldn't even have happened in an NFL game. They needed the extra points and everything to get. I think Arlington's the better team here. They're better coach, and I think Sluter, whatever, give them a better chance to win this game. I like this. I think this is a very, very solid bet. It's my favorite one of the week. +4 Arlington.
You two are excellent. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence and helping us out with the XFL. We are going to do some college basketball best bets ahead of conference tournaments wrapping up this weekend right after a NASCAR price check.
Welcome to the Price Check. I'm Pierce Dietrich. Let's look at the salaries for Phoenix, whose salary jumped up this week. Chase Briscoe, $7,400 up to $8,400 in the Xfinity Series. This was his worst track. In the Cup Series, he won last spring and he finished 4th in the fall. Daniel Suarez, $7,600 up to $8,500. Fontana, Las Vegas went well, but Phoenix is a different animal. NASCAR will be unveiling their new untested experimental short track package this weekend. William Byron, $9,100 up to $9,800. 4 top 10s in the last 6 at Phoenix. Got 10 hog points in both Phoenix races last season. Whose salary dropped this week? Ricky Stenhouse Jr., $6,800 down to $5,800. In terms of average finish, it's one of his worst tracks. But in terms of lead lap finishes, it's one of his best tracks. Go figure that out. Austin Dillon, $8,100 down to $7,500 in 18 Phoenix races, just 2 top 10s, and he's only finished on the lead lap in half of those races. Christopher Bell, $9,300 down to $8,800. The championship race didn't go as planned, but the fact remains, he is still one of the best short track races in the series. Favorite play of the week, Ryan Blaney, $10,300. He led over 100 laps in both Phoenix races last year. He's probably going to find a way not to win, but he's going to score plenty of fantasy points. Austin Cindric, $7,100. Team Penske dominates this track in every series. He finished 11th last fall. He has 2 Xfinity wins and an Xfinity runner-up at Phoenix. All right, guys, check out DK Nation for all your DFS information needs. If you have NASCAR questions, find me on Twitter at Race for the Prize. I'm Pierce Dietrich. Catch me on DK Live.
Welcome back to The Sweat. Jesse and Emerson here. We also have DK Nation's Colin Sherwin and DraftKings contributor Julian Edlow. Julian is here in the studio. He's got a sweet new shirt on.
Go
Sports
Massachusetts.
betting.
Let's bet on sports. I'm doing it right now.
This is the DK mascot for launch day.
All right, speaking of betting on sports, how about we do some college basketball best bets for conference tournaments? Let's go.
You are.
Julian.
It's an exciting day.
Julian,
Yep.
focus. Okay, right here, eyes here. All right, favorite bet from a game in the ACC tournament.
All right.
Do you want me to
You're
do
looking
Colin
at it
first?
right now.
Yeah, no,
You're
it's a
not
big day
ignoring
in
us.
Massachusetts,
Yeah.
but I've been preparing all these college bets. Like, I've been looking at the board all night. So, yeah, we're going to do it on the fly. The game of the day in the ACC, obviously, and Colin will agree, is Miami and Duke. Colin and I, both futures holders on Miami here. So, Miami is a small dog. I got to like them in this game. Size problems with Duke, sure, but they're the more veteran team. They're going to have a huge advantage in the backcourt. A little bit of a revenge angle for Duke because Miami mopped the floor with them in the home game, and that was the last matchup. Duke narrowly beat them at home this season. But in the rematch, in the ACC tournament, there's a reason I took Miami in a future. I like them today in this game as a dog.
All right, Colin, what do you think? Favorite bet from a game in the ACC tournament?
Miami outright, +120. Give me the money line. Let's do this. Yeah, I think Kane's got this today. Julian and I are so simpatico on Miami. It's ridiculous. Brutal yesterday. They coasted in the entire second half and then didn't make a free throw down the stretch, missed a couple shots, still hung on to win by 2 in a game they probably should have covered by double digits. They won't do that today. Filipowski is going to have a big day. They don't have a way to stop him inside. He's going to go off, but nobody else for Duke will, and Miami wins this thing pretty comfortably.
Hey, Colin, in terms of like top flight teams and percentage of teams that could eventually make the big dance here, like the Big 12 may have the best collection of talent. What would a bet be from this tournament?
Yeah, I understand why Iowa State is only getting 4.5 here, but I kind of like the other side. Look, I think Kansas is just going to run away with this tournament. I think they showed yesterday they were a 3-point favorite. They won. They could have made the score if they wanted to win by 30. They could have won by 30. They want to be here. They want to win this thing. I don't know if that's because they want to win it for their coach, who's still sitting in the hospital, as far as we know, or if they just like are playing really good basketball and are enjoying playing with each other. But whatever it is, yeah, give me Kansas. They're the best team in this thing. I understand why it's only 4.5 on the metrics, but I think Kansas wins this thing by double digits. This one's a walk.
All right, so Jules, we've reached the semifinals here. So you got Iowa State, Kansas, and Texas taking on TCU. What's your bet?
Yeah, if we want to talk about the other game, I don't mind TCU as a dog against Texas, honestly. But my favorite bet in the Big 12 today is laying the points with Kansas. We laid a questionable 3.5 against West Virginia yesterday. That wound up being a Kansas blowout. Now we got them at a short number again against an Iowa State team that I can't figure out. I don't like this team. I haven't liked them since I bet them to beat Texas Tech, and they were up 23 with 12 minutes left and lost the game. I keep betting Baylor against them, and they just own Baylor. They covered at Kansas, only lost by 2 there, and beat Kansas at home this season. So maybe it's another spot like how they own Baylor. They've got this Kansas team figured out. I'm going to bet against it, though, and I'm laying the points with Kansas. Kansas gets it done this time around. First cover of the year against the Cyclones.
I mean, Kansas, it's going to be a little emotional for him as well with Bill Self missing the rest of the tournament as well.
Sure, right. But I mean, they rallied around it yesterday. Yeah. They'll rally around it today.
Sure. All right, Big East, a tumultuous time in the Big East. What's your best bet in this one, Jules?
I like both the favorites in the Big East today, but I like Creighton the most. They looked fantastic last night. They're a team that I have a future on to win the Big East tournament. They're a team that I have a future on to win it all from preseason. They're the first team that I bet at 40-1. They've looked great. Xavier struggled with DePaul last night, and they're still down Fremantle. I just when Creighton has its 5 guys, its 5-man starting lineup on the floor, and nobody gets in foul trouble, they can roll with anybody, and I think that they're going to roll over Xavier tonight at MSG.
Colin, what do you think? I mean, loaded teams here: Marquette, UConn, Xavier, Providence, Creighton. What's your best bet?
I'm going to go against Jules here. I actually like the dog in the UConn Providence or in the UConn game. That UConn team was up 16 at halftime yesterday. They're up 20 in the second half, and they hung on to win by exactly 7, which was the closing number. I don't think they follow through. They're very inconsistent. They struggle, with teams that can shoot the ball. Marquette's certainly a team that can shoot it a little bit. So I like Marquette here. I got this at 3.5. I like it less. I'll like it less at 3. It's not a great bet. There's probably better stuff out there on the board. But yeah, that's where I am. I think Marquette pulls this one out, and at least makes this a 1-possession game late.
All right, Colin, take us to the Pac-12 tournament. What do you like on the DK Sportsbook?
The Pac-12, I can't wait, man. I think it's going to be one of the best games of the year. Arizona State and Arizona tonight. Arizona State probably shouldn't be here. Last time these two teams played, Arizona State hit a 50-plus footer at the buzzer to keep themselves alive in the NCAA tournament. And then yesterday they beat the USC Trojans to again keep themselves alive in consideration for the NCAA tournament. Arizona State needs this. Arizona wants this. Arizona would love to beat their rival again, but 7.5 is just going to be a tick too many for me. I think Arizona State covers. Like Arizona does get to the final, or we are going to get that UCLA Arizona final. I'm going to be there. I can't wait. But I do think Arizona State hangs around today and makes a game of this. 7.5 is just a little too high. Give me the Sun Devils and the points.
All right, Arizona State, Jules, UCLA, and Oregon. Where are you going?
Well, I'm going to scrap the Pac-12 because I told you before the segment we're scrapping the Pac-12.
I listened to my
and
producer,
I'm going to the
not
SEC.
you.
I don't listen to
It's
anybody.
ridiculous, Drew.
He's just going
Producer
straight
Drew.
to the SEC, all right?
SEC, 1 o'clock Eastern tip. You got an hour here in Massachusetts to get it in. Go to DraftKings Sportsbook. Mississippi State, first half +4. Alabama, ever since this whole Brandon Miller situation went down, they are 0-4 against the spread overall, but they've been even worse coming out of the gate in games. They trailed by 4 at South Carolina. They were laying 10 in the first half in that game. Trailed by 4. Down 9 against Arkansas. Down 7 against Auburn. And then last game on Saturday, they were at A&M and trailed by 10 at halftime. I'm taking Mississippi State +4 in the first half. I think Bama's likely trailing, and the trend continues.
All right, Colin, what about your SEC bet here?
I'm with Julian on that as well. I think that's right. But I kind of like Vanderbilt today. 8.5 is just a little too money for a team that's won 9 of their last 10. Vandy came out of nowhere. If the season ended in April instead of March, they're an NCAA tournament team for sure. Playing great basketball right now on the right side. Meanwhile, this Kentucky team has been so up and down all season. They haven't played in a week. I don't think that helps them. So, and Vandy looked great last night yet again. So give me the Doors in 8.5. Don't know if they get it done, but I like them with the points.
All right, good stuff. Appreciate it, you two.
Farewell.
Your job is
Goodbye,
done
Julian.
for the day.
Yeah,
Because
I'm
now,
gonna leave.
Can you get me one of those shirts?
Yeah.
I need one of those shirts.
Ask
No.
someone, man. They're
Okay.
around.
The
All right,
answer is
dude.
no, or we'll talk about it later. So it's
Later.
time to talk a little bit of NHL. As
Damn.
you can see,
Stars put up
10
10 biscuits in a
goals.
basket.
10 goals. Also, Kane scored his first goal with the Rangers
Yeah.
in that shootout win over the Canadiens.
And speaking of 10, the Oilers ending the 10-game win streak of the Bruins last night.
Yeah.
Paul Bruno, Connor McDavid not even recording a point, but as Jeff Ulrich told us earlier, he didn't have to. It's good to have you here. Only a 2-game slate tonight, my dude. Let's do some NHL morning skate, get some DFS and sportsbook plays from you. Top DFS play for Chicago at Florida.
I wondered how Jeff was going to talk hockey in his other sports segment, but anyway. Look, at Florida comes into their game tonight on a nice 4-game stretch where they've actually really tidied up their defensive game for a change, allowing a total of only 5 goals in that span. They're still among the highest scoring teams in the league, too, and I noticed that their offensive catalyst, Alexander Barkov, has chipped in with 3 points in the last 2 games, which show that he's in good shape after a 3-game injury absence. At home tonight against Chicago, one of the NHL's bottom feeders, they've gone 5-5 in their last 10 games, but I'm not buying it. I like Barkov's chances to lead his squad to a lopsided win, all costing only $7,500.
Paul, what about your top DFS play for Anaheim and Calgary? What do you think?
Well, you got to get a goalie. I mean, you can make the case for Bobrovsky, but I just never trust that guy. I don't know. I feel much more confident in what I'm seeing out of Jacob Markstrom in goal for Calgary for $7,900, Jesse. And that's the Flames needing to win a very high percentage of their remaining games. They've clearly pinned their hopes on their veteran starter. He's going to be in net for the 7th straight game tonight against Anaheim, another bottom feeder in the NHL. He's played some of his best hockey of late, coming off a 40-save shutout against Minnesota in his last start. And I like his win probability against the lowly Ducks of Anaheim at home tonight as well.
Who's your top value play tonight? Either game.
I'm looking at the Calgary game and saying it's time for Jonathan Huberdeau to live up to his advanced billing. He's had a tough year offensively, well off his totals from last year, costing only $4,000. This team needs him now. He's playing in a second line role, getting power play minutes as well. That's just too cheap a price, even on a guy who's struggling. I think it's a chance for him to break out against a lesser opponent.
All right, take us to that Chicago-Florida game and give us your best bet in this one.
Well, I like a parlay bet, Jesse, because the other lines are not very attractive yet for me. So I'm thinking maybe even go over 7.5 goals and take the parlay with the Florida team winning and going over 7.5 with the help of a couple of Chicago tallies, and that'll at least be a positive payout.
All right, best bet, Anaheim, Calgary. Take us there.
Same deal, Emerson. I'll take another parlay bet here on the Flames to win a critical game for them against a stiff opponent, and a stiff in a negative term, me. Get that?
Yeah,
so
I got you.
I'll take a game total of less than 6 goals against, going the under, and looking for the plus 120 payout on a low-scoring Calgary win.
All right, Paul, thank you so much for putting the NHL
See you,
panel
Paul.
on your back. We appreciate it as always. That's a show for us. Emerson and I are out. We are so excited that Massachusetts launched mobile sports betting. DraftKings is live.
Get
in
on there.
Massachusetts.
Download it.
Download the app. Get involved. We're going to recap a big weekend. We'll be back Monday at 11 a.m.
Yeah, because the NFL, new year, new league year in the NFL next week, free agency. My God, there's going to be a lot of pens put to paper.
We can't wait to talk about it on Monday. We'll see you then at 11 a.m.
Wait.